What is happening to Real Madrid right now? This was supposed to be the moment when everything became clear. The big game against Manchester City was getting closer, and all the focus should have been on preparation, confidence, and tactical decisions. Instead, the opposite happened. The closer this match gets, the more uncertainty grows around Real Madrid. First, there were doubts around Kylian Mbappe. Then concern around Jude Bellingham. Now, Álvaro Carreras has officially become the latest problem for Madrid before one of the biggest games of the season. The club confirmed on March 9th that Carreras suffered a muscle injury in the calf of his right leg, and that is where the tension begins. Because one injury before a huge Champions League match is already difficult enough. But when the conversation includes Mbappe, Bellingham, and Carreras all at once, it stops feeling like a normal pre-match issue. It starts feeling like a real crisis of preparation. And the reason this matters so much is simple. These are not small players in small roles. Mbappe changes the fear factor of the attack. Bellingham changes the rhythm and intensity of the midfield. Carreras gives depth and options in key defensive areas. So when all three names are connected to fitness concerns before facing Manchester City, the entire emotional climate of the game changes. Recent reporting suggested Mbappe and Bellingham were in races against time and might not be ready for the first leg, which only increased the anxiety around Madrid's build-up. That is why this first block of the story is so important. It is not just about injuries, that it is about what those injuries do to belief. Because before any tactical board comes out, before any lineup is announced, before the whistle blows, one question now hangs over everything. How complete will Real Madrid actually be when they face Manchester City? That leads directly into the second major block of the story. How should Real Madrid approach this game now? Because these injury doubts do not just affect the names on the team sheet, they affect the entire strategy. Against Manchester City, every decision matters. You cannot be too open. You cannot be too passive. You cannot lose your structure. And you cannot give them space for free. That is why the tactical conversation around Real Madrid has become even more intense. If Mbappe is not fully available, Madrid lose one of their most explosive attacking weapons. If Bellingham is not fully available, they lose one of the players who best connects midfield energy with forward threat. And with Carreras officially injured, defensive choices become even more delicate. So now the debate is no longer just about whether Madrid can beat City. Now it is about what version of Madrid can beat City. Do they go for an aggressive approach and trust the Bernabeu atmosphere to carry them? Do they stay compact and prioritize shape over risk? Do they try to slow the rhythm of the game and survive the first waves of pressure? Or do they believe individual quality can still decide everything? Recent preview coverage described Madrid's likely setup as a search for balance, with emphasis on keeping midfield control, protecting vulnerable spaces, and still creating enough support around Vinicius in attack. And that makes total sense, because Manchester City punish teams that lose their balance. If your lines are stretched, they attack the gaps. If your press is late, they play through it. If your fullbacks are isolated, they target them again and again. So the second block of this story is really about one thing. Can Real Madrid build a stable enough version of themselves to survive a game that punishes instability more than almost any other? That is the challenge facing the coaching staff right now. Not just choosing the best 11, but choosing the right emotional and tactical posture. And that may be the difference between Madrid staying alive in the tie, or Madrid spending the night chasing shadows. And then comes the third big development. Just when Real Madrid were already dealing with growing uncertainty, Manchester City received a major boost. Rodri was sanctioned, but he was not suspended. Instead of missing the match, he received a fine and a warning, which means he remains available for the clash against Real Madrid. Multiple reports on March 9th confirmed that Rodri avoided a ban and can still play. And for Madrid, that is not a small detail. It is huge, because Rodri is not just another starter. He is one of the most important control points in Manchester City's entire system. He gives them composure. He gives them positional balance. He gives them the ability to dictate tempo. He gives them calm when games become chaotic. So if he had been suspended, that would have been one less major problem for Real Madrid to solve. But that did not happen. Instead, the exact opposite happened. City keep one of their most important players, while Madrid continue worrying about whether some of their own biggest names will be ready. And that contrast changes the feel of the tie. On one side, Real Madrid are dealing with doubts, injuries, and tactical questions. On the other side, Manchester City avoid losing a player who often acts like the team's emotional and tactical anchor. So this final block is not just about discipline news. It is about momentum. Because football is not only shaped by what happens on the pitch, it is also shaped by what happens before the game, the headlines, the absences, the boosts, the doubts. And right now, the pre-match momentum feels uncomfortable for Real Madrid. Carreras is officially injured. Mbappe and Bellingham remain major doubts. And Rodri is available. That does not decide the match, but it absolutely increases the pressure on Madrid. That is why this game now feels even bigger, because Real Madrid are no longer preparing for Manchester City under ideal conditions. They are preparing for Manchester City while trying to manage instability, protect belief, and solve tactical problems in real time. So the final question becomes this: can Real Madrid overcome all of this and still rise on the biggest stage, or are these warning signs too serious to ignore? If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to subscribe and leave a like, because this channel is all about the biggest Real Madrid stories, the biggest match build-ups, and the kind of analysis that goes beyond the headlines. And now tell me in the comments, are you still confident Real Madrid can beat Manchester City, or are these updates starting to change your expectations?